Hello everyone and welcome back to EXA Season 9 Division 2. It is round 5 and we are here at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix, and it is the first sprint race of the season. The 2.6 mile circuit contains 10 turns, 3 to the left and 7 to the right, with 3 DRS zones completing the circuit, with the shortest lap time on the Formula 1 calendar. It's hosted 37 F1 Grand Prix over the years and has since returned since 2014 to the calendar after a 10-season hiatus. The circuit across the years has had a number of layout changes and has seen winners like Fittipaldi, Jones, Prost, Lauda, Mansell, Schumacher, Hamilton and Verstappen and many more win at this very, very historic circuit in the hills of Austria. It is very much steeped in history. It has also seen many battles and controversial moments, like in 2024 where we saw Norris and Verstappen's incident during their duel for the lead, and as well it saw the sight of the Silver War intensifying between Hamilton and Rosberg. I'm your commentator Jamie Jackson, and I will be taking you through proceedings tonight as we get into today's sprint quali session. However, first off, we've got a bit of admin to do. We've got some stuff to discuss. Last time out, Sausage Joe took victory in Singapore ahead of Zoran and then AMS Knight. Brand finished in P4 ahead of Adam in 5th. Hitman finished in 6th with Flores in 7th. And then the rest did not finish, like White Josh being in 8th, but did not finish the rest. Only 7 drivers in a very intensely fought Division 2 Singapore Grand Prix. That leaves us with the driver standings looking like this. We've got Amos Knight at the top of the table with 88 points and is 39 points clear of Zoran in 2nd place. Sausage Joe then 4 points behind that in 3rd, Brown in 4th, Nelu Safi in 5th, Flores 6th, Oliver 7th, Reese Brooks in P8, Raven West in 9th, and Adam rounding out the top 10 positions in the drivers. Constructors is then Kick Sauber leading the way by only 19 points over Ferrari, who look to be the most consistent and solid team this season, while Red Bull in 3rd, RB in 4th, Williams in 5th, Aston Martin 6th, Alpine in 7th, and then you've got McLaren, Mercedes and Haas as the rest of the constructors. All teams have scored points in these early races who can really step it up over the rest of this season. But we are in sprint qualifying round now. It is 5 minutes to go in the session. We see a Ferrari 1-2 at this stage. However, Adam is not too far behind Nelu Safu. Our chart, it also very, very close. It looks to be a very close sprint qualifier. This is the shortest lap time, so we should see some drivers fighting it out at the front of the field. But there's a couple of drivers out on track. Well, actually, there's only one driver out on track here, and that is Team Juiceman. It is currently about to maybe go on a double out lap just to get the tyres warmed in preparation for a final run. Sprint quali session means 12 minutes. You only get, well, normally you'd only get one tyre, but because it's a short sprint quali, you get all of them available to you. So these drivers will be going thick and fast to try and get onto sprint pole position and set themselves up for the sprint race. Sprint race 12 laps, and then we've got an 18-minute quali session after that to set the grid for the main race. 36 laps for these drivers to contest over, with drivers trying to strategize, trying to get up the field, try and get some extra points on the board and set themselves up for the remaining part of the season. We're not even, well, I think we're only a quarter of the way through, well, further away through the season now, so it should be heating up for these drivers who are looking to try and get as many points on the board before the next break week in a couple races time. Team Juiceman will come flying into pits, gets very, very late on entry there, and that it, might get looked at by the stewards if it gets reported, or if it's just a race problem, then he might just be okay, but we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, Rio Harris, the Alpine teammate, will be going for a flying lap. Currently sit in P8 right now, 1 minute 4.1, about 7 tenths, sorry, off of V10 Leo 27, and in the Ferrari, current provisional pole sitter for the sprint race. Rio going to go through the rest of the lap. As we go down towards turn 4, yes, turn 4, that is that little left-hander that adds to as a corner earlier on in the circuit before we go through turn 5 into turn 6. And the Alpine is just going to try and maximise their result if possible. The Tier 3 champion, Division 3 champion, last season, looks to try and improve upon their current position and put themselves in that fight for provisional pole. Going to go through the final couple of corners now. Rio looks to be on a very decent lap here. Is it going to be an improvement? No, it certainly is. A 3.6 puts himself just ahead of Nello Safi, but is 2 tenths off of V10 Leo, and that is not what you want to be seeing if you're Rio, because you see 2 tenths at a track so short, especially after the track evolution. What have I got to do? He might know where he lost those 2 tenths, but he's got a little bit of time to recuperate that battery and try and go for one final run on those soft compound of tyres. Meanwhile, the rest of the field are going to be gunning for position right now. For Fira Attis has gone for a lap and has gone P2 in the field. That is a very good lap from the RB driver. Meanwhile, he's now only 200s off of a driver who has been excelling in qualifying previously, but someone who has very much matched him and in qualifying, if not beaten him on a couple of occasions, is our current championship leader, AMS Knight, who just seems to have the all-round package in comparison to his rivals. We're going to go on board with the mystery machine here today, and we're going to see what the Sauber can do in their first and only timed run in Q3. I wonder if they got an invalidation or if they're just going to go all out for one final run. They have the points gap, so and a sprint race, it's not going to be a massive difference to them. You can go over the first couple of corners. That's a very good job through turn 1. Does look like the car locked up slightly low before we go. Now through turn 2, don't even notice it at all, even in any sort of car, let alone in a Formula 1 car. 16-0 in the first sector. As we go through the rest of the lap now, goes through turn 3 and is just not actually going for a lap. They've decided to back off this one, and the championship leader looks content in starting in P17. That is a very interesting job from him. Meanwhile, I'm going to look at last week's race winner, which is Sausage Joe. Going to go around the final corner, going up to the line. P5 for the Red Bull, 1 minute 3.7. Puts a very nice time on the board for themselves. We need track map up because we're going to see... I need to see who else is going round the lap. V10 Leo goes even faster, 3.2. Excellent job from the Ferrari. Meanwhile, next up to the line is one of the Alpines and its team Juiceman, who does not manage to improve. Adam is the next driver who comes up to the line now. We're going to continue through the final corner. Keeps it just about within track limits, does he? And we go to the line. 3.1 from Adam. Goes fastest by nearly a tenth of a second over V10 Leo. Out of nowhere. Potentially pole position. Unless Nello Safi can do anything about it. Not quite. 3.2. Half a tenth off of Adam. And that could be pole position right now. CWL Racing up to the line. P11 for the Haas. Meanwhile, here comes Marcel Linky is going to go P14. Bran is invalidated. He's going to have to dive right out the way for the Aston Martin of Aiden, who is going to go up to the line. A 3.9 puts himself into P12, and I think unless someone else has anything to say about Adam's lap, no they do not. That is going to be pole position unless Epic OJ comes up to the line. No, he's not going to go for the time, and that is going to be pole position potentially. Yeah, that's going to be pole position there for Adam on sprint qualifying and for the sprint race, just ahead of the 2 Ferraris, and then striking the RBs lock at 4th and 5th with Fira Attis in P5, Archer 6th, Rio Harris 7th, Sausage Joe in 8th, Washed in P9, Epic OJ rounding out the top 10 of CWL Racing in 11th, Aiden, Bran, Marcel, Ultimate John, Team Juiceman, and AMS Knight being the whole grid, but our championship leader looking to have a little bit of fun here today with a sprint, with the sprint race starting in last place. Yes, you heard the ear right. Our championship leader is gonna go and try and get go and do a last question mark challenge in our sprint race, but we'll see whether that has any bearing on whether his confidence is gonna be changed by having to fight through the field and not being able to maximise in qualifying, because these drivers now know more or less what the 1 lap grip is. Can Knight manage that in the qualifying session later on? But we've got a sprint race to think about first, and I just thought we need to quickly go down. There you go, that's the grid for the sprint race. I almost forgot about that bit. But yeah, the sprint race grid looks like that, and it's going to be an exciting race. A bit more overcast than what we saw in sprint qualifying, so we're going to see whether these drivers can manage to change in temperature, because you don't realise it unless you're really driving on the limit how much temperature changes these cars, and it will be exciting to notice whether these drivers can manage that temperature change and whether it affects their pace. Track temp is everything, and you just might lose that little bit of edge that you might have had in the sprint qualifying session. I hope formation lap is... I did put formation lap. It should be saved, to be honest. Let's have a quick look. Open it is. It might be... I think... Open so. Yeah, formation lap's on. That's fine. I did worry for a second. But yeah, it's just saved to luckily be on. So we are going to go to the formation lap. Anyone... We're going to go for a load of mediums, but a crucial thing is that the Ferraris have gone hard, both Ferraris and as well as Aiden. That is an interesting strategy, because maybe they're thinking that mediums lose that extra edge of pace at the end of the race and they can come back with the hard compound of tyres. We'll see whether the Ferraris can manage it, or maybe they're trying to save a set of mediums for in the race, potentially looking to go for that 2-stop of a soft medium, and maybe using the hards now will certainly help them savour it. We are now on our formation lap. Adams decided that he's going to go for a very quick formation lap. He's not going to hang about for these drivers who want to just sit about a little bit, have a little bit of warm-up, have a little bit of a slower out lap. He wants to crack on with it. He wants to get as much warmth in his tyres and optimise his strategy and optimise his tyre temperatures for the start line. Maybe going that little bit harder will catch the drivers behind off guard. Or he's noticed that the hard tyres on Nelly Saffin V10 Leo will be more difficult to get off the line than his mediums if colder. So that might play a factor in why he's decided to do a formation lap that has been so very quick, and decides he's going to miss his pit box at it. Do you know what? That was an interesting lineup on the grid, but fair enough. He's managed to get himself into position. However, that reversing, if gets called out, might get called on the stewards. That'll be don't get to see that in real life. So, interesting one there from Adam. The 17 drivers now coming up to the line. AMS Knight deciding he's going to sit back and actually take his time with this one, because everyone else at the front of the field is already on the grid for a solid 20 or 30 seconds now. By the time he lines up on the grid, their tyres are going to be getting colder and colder by the second. We are now going to get ready for our 5 red lights for the sprint race in Austria. It is round 5 sprint race, the first one of 2 of the season. It's lights out and away we go. Adam gets a very decent start, but Nelu Safu is coming at him as we go into turn 1. Not able to do much in the second phase. Adam manages to do so. Meanwhile, the RBs go side by side into turn 1. Strikey comes out on top. That's allowed Archer to go through on Fira Attis, as now the RB is trying to fight back against the Mercedes. Meanwhile, it's 2 by 2 up the field, 4 wide into turn 3. Bit of contact between the Red Bull and the RB, more contact between the few of them. However, they managed to keep it all on the racetrack. A Sausage Joe has come out in P6 ahead of Archer. Meanwhile, he's going to go after the RB in front in P5. He's going to cut to the outside, try and get a move. Cuts across the nose of the Mercedes. No contact though quite there, but they're going to continue on now with Adam leading away, head of Nelu Safu, head of V10 Leo, Strikey and Firatatis. And there's that's an RB. There's a Haas that's around as well. That's washed as well. Who's gone spinning to the back of the field, and that has not gone the way of these of the Haas. And there is a RB who's dropped down to P10 and out of the points paying positions. Meanwhile, Knight, who has made up 5 positions, maybe 6 positions by the end of lap 1. That is an excellent job from the Sauber, who is siphoning through the field, and he's got another 11 laps laps to make up 11 positions. This is gonna be an interesting race for the Sauber. Meanwhile, Nelu Safu on the back of the Aston Martin of Adam. To the inside he may go. No, he will not. He will sit back behind, but a little bit of contact there between the two of them. Meanwhile, Epic OJ has just got by CWL Racing for P8. CWL's ghosted there, unfortunately, for the Haas. They're all going to continue on now in the DRS of one another. Meanwhile, looking back behind one more is AMS Knight, who tries to dive up the inside of Firatatis, but cannot quite do it. Aiden's trying to make a move up to P15, and can he get around the outside and to the inside? 3 wide between Wash, Team Juiceman, and Aiden. Team Juiceman gets sold out there as Wash goes up the inside and takes P15 away from Aiden, gained a position, lost a position there for the Aston Martin. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to the lead, battle for the lead. Adam, Nelu Safu, V10 Leo. There's a spinner. That's Strikey, who's gone round in the final corner. I don't know if there's any contact, but that's sent the RB spinning and out of the points, and potentially out of any chances of anything other than 17, because they may very well have damage. The other RB's gone round of Firatatis, and that is not a good sign for the RB squad. Both of them were P4 and P5. Meanwhile, Nelu Safu and V10 Leo have gone by. Sausage Joe's got on through, as well as Archer. Adam's gone through. There's something wrong with Adam. I'm not entirely sure what has happened there. Meanwhile, there's a V10 Leo may have caused contact with the Aston Martin. He's gone and let back the 3 drivers who were behind him through. Adam goes back up to P4. V10 Leo down to P5. We were too busy focused on the RBs, ladies and gentlemen. There's all sorts of chaos happening right now. Meanwhile, Rio Harris trying to go for a move on V10 Leo. They're all trying to kick off as we go through the rest of the lap. It's only lap 3 and they've had absolute pandemonium right now. Meanwhile, Nelu Safu leads the way, head of Sausage Joe, head of Archer, Adam, V10 Leo, Rio Harris, Epic OJ, AMS Knight is up into P8, ladies and gentlemen. Marcel in 9th, and Brand rounding out the top 10. But there's still a lot more to go in this race. Sausage Joe, who has made up a good couple of 6 positions in this race, only losing out to the 9 of AMS Knight, who is charging through the field. He is currently in P2 right now. Going to see if that makes any sort of difference. Strikey retires from the race. However, it is now opportunity for Sausage Joe to get use his momentum from the race win in Singapore last week time out. He's going to try and take the sprint race victory here, but he's got Archer behind him, causing some pressure, and trying to pressurise Nelu Safu at the same time is a very, very difficult task at this point in the race. Meanwhile, AMS Knight is going to try and make a move up the inside of Epic OJ, up to P7. AMS Knight is on an absolute charge right now. On lap 4 is in the P7, gained 10 positions in this opening 4 laps of the race. That is a very good job from the Sauber. And now we're going to continue on. Nelu Safu has gained a 1.1 second advantage over Sausage Joe. 3 second time penalty for Wash as we now go into turn 1. Sausage Joe's got a very big load of defending from the Mercedes of Archer, who is right up his chuff as we go down towards turn 2 and turn 3. It's side by side for the Aston Martin of Adam and the Mercedes, as the Aston Martin goes flying through up the inside of both the Red Bull and the Mercedes. The British racing team has done an absolute epic job there, as the straight line speed for Adam is absolutely there right now. He goes back up into P2. He's going to be hunting down Nelu Safu, a lead that he lost only a couple laps ago, and now is on an absolute charge. We now go through turn 6 as Nelu Safu, Adam, Sausage Joe, Archer, V10 Leo. That's our top 5 with Rio Harris and AMS Knight trailing behind. Epic OJ rounds out the points. But there's all sorts of battles going on right now, because Aiden has gone by Ultimate John, and same with Firatatis, CWL. Something's happened potentially with him. He's gone down the order. I believe there might be contact or some sort of dirty air problem for the Haas, as he's dropped down to the back of the field, and that is very, very unlucky from him. As we now go through onto lap 6 of 12, Nelu Safu leads the way, just 1.1 seconds clear of Adam. He just needs to maintain outside of that DRS margin in order to try and stay in that lead. Bit of an oversteer moment there from Adam. AMS Knight is up the inside of Rio Harris. Rio Harris has to go off the circuit. That is not what you want to be doing in the Alpine. I wonder if that caused him any issues. Meanwhile, Sausage Joe manages to get by Adam. Dive bomb up the inside from V10 Leo and Archer. They're going to go side by side as V10 Leo tries to go continue around the outside of turn 6. Not quite able to do so. The Mercedes gets the legs, but not quite the legs. He's full star Ferrari well off the circuit, and that has ended in absolute tears for the Ferrari. And unfortunately, bit more contact there between Epic OJ and V10 Leo. Epic OJ trying to get by. The Ferrari did not quite notice it. Into the penultimate corner, going still side by side. Yeah, Red Bull forcing him off the road. V10 Leo gets a 3-second time penalty. There's a spinner. That is Epic OJ, who's gone round, and V10 Leo potentially being caught up in all that as well. And that is not the day that V10 Leo's having, because he has been in every single scuffle under the sun, and it is only just continuing. Meanwhile, the championship leader is already into P5 on lap 7 of this race, and he's on the charge against Archer, against Adam, against Sausage Joe, and potentially could get Nelu Safu if he gets his boots on. Dive bomb up the inside into turn 4. AMS Knight trying to make a move. Archer going to manage to keep it around the outside, but he's going to continue to use the inside line, the shorter run towards turn 6, as Archer tries to keep the inside line and dives it late to try and cut off. AMS Knight does so for the time being, but AMS Knight is an absolute charge right now. We continue on as we go through the final couple of corners of the lap. We are over halfway through the race at this time, and now the Sauber is going to use the oversteer moment for the Mercedes to swing by the Mercedes, and the Sauber is up to P4 on a charge, has not lost DRS to Adam either, so this is going to be the opportunity of a lifetime. Meanwhile, Archer losing the back end there, going off at turn 1. Meanwhile, Rio Harris can potentially take advantage, so can V10 Leo, who is looking to make a big dive bomb into the outside line. Rio very much covering that off. Archer having a very big struggles on the exit there, maybe burnt up his tyres too much. That's going to allow Rio Harris and V10 Leo to go side by side, make it 3 wide between the few. The Mercedes just has to dip behind. Rio Harris and V10 Leo going to continue to go side by side. Leo just about keeping it ahead and just about stays ahead. Those hard tyres will start to come into play now as we go through the rest of this race, and start to use them well. He will, because the Ferrari needs to crack on with the 3-second time penalty they already have. At this moment in time, though, the Ferrari is able to stay in that DRS, is unable to break away from 3 cars because of that 3-second time penalty. So they've got to be careful by the end of this race. Meanwhile, AMS Knight is who is just ahead of us, is the championship leader. He's got to fight Adam, and Sausage Joe, the sprint pole sitter, is in 3rd. The race winner from last time out is in 2nd, and our championship leader is in 4th. At the moment, we're going to go into turn 3. There's nothing the either driver can do into that corner, but there's going to be a bit of a back end loss there from Adam, not quite getting the exit that he may have wanted. Meanwhile, AMS Knight getting the ultimate traction out of the 3 drivers. AMS Knight looking to go for a dive on, goes for the dive bomb, gets to the apex, manages to stay there, keeps it on the inside, gets a bit of contact, gets a bit of argy-bargy as we go through the rest of the sector. I mean, no, around the outside goes the Sauber, but the Aston Martin has the inside line, has the shorter run, but AMS Knight keeps it around the outside, will have to run, uses the late braking, gets by into turn 7 and makes the move stick. By turn 8 is up into the podium positions now. It's the Sauber as AMS Knight is on an absolute charge. Excellent stuff there from Knight. If he has a stream of his own race, honestly, I'd love to watch this sprint race back as we go through towards turn 1 now. Potentially P2 on the cards, maybe too far out for P1 as Nelu Safu's 3.4 second lead is maybe too much to grasp at this late stage in the race. But AMS Knight will certainly not be unhappy with this P2 if he can manage it, if not that P3. But Sausage Joe will not go down without a fight. The Red Bull is going to try and go for a move and defend as quickly as possible and make sure that that P2 is safely secure as we go through the last couple of laps. Yellow flag washed, has gone round at the exit of turn 3. And unfortunately for the Haas, It's not quite been their day. Meanwhile, Bran is going to get by Archer, who is trying to defend on the inside like he did with V10 Leo this time. There's no contact, no forcing off the road. Archer, who's having all sorts of nightmares for that back end. That car is not looking the most easy to drive, and that 4.72 second gap between them and the RB behind for the final points paying position could be crucial. Never mind, Archer's got a 3-second time penalty, so has Rio Harris, and that is not the day that the Mercedes would have wanted, considering their pace, and that is not going to help them their confidence going into the main race, considering their tyre deck is quite significantly higher than some of the rest of the field. Meanwhile, we're going to back to the battle for second. AMS9, you can just see, is calculative, is taking slightly more time as we go through the remaining laps. At this stage, it looks like AMS9 could potentially overtake at any opportunity. That dive bomb we've seen time and time again in this race could come at any moment, and Sausage Joe is certainly going to be prepared for it. We've got 5 teams in this 2nd to 6th position at the moment, and Bran is just behind them and as things stand, it could all turn on its head by a single move, by a turn of a dime. It could happen at any moment. AMS9 is going to sit right behind Sausage Joe as we go through the final couple of corners, but that dirty air, that washout is certainly not helping the Sauber maintain the grip, as you saw go a little bit wider through there. Adam is much closer there to the Sauber, then the Sauber is to the Red Bull. Epic OJ is got 3-second time penalty, but he's well down the order in T10 at the moment, so it's out the points, not going to be affecting the points paying positions, but they will certainly not be happy with that penalty. Meanwhile, we're on the final lap of the race. Massive snap there from the moving of AMS9. That has caused Adam to almost go into both of them. Ghosting has luckily occurred at this stage, but Adam has almost completely lost it in a similar manner to what happened to Kimi Antonelli and Max Verstappen on lap 1 of the Austrian Grand Prix in real life this year, and that was very lucky to not have ended in tears for all 3 drivers at the end of the day. But AMS9 unable to do anything against Sausage Joe, but there's been no one who can stop Nelu Safu, who comes around the final couple of corners to take the sprint race victory for the Ferrari. It's Nelu Safu who tops the times once again and takes victory in the sprint. Meanwhile, Sausage Joe comes home 2nd, AMS9 in 3rd, V10 Leo in 4th, and actually it'll go to Adam in 4th and Brown in 5th. V10 Leo drops to 6th on Pent. Rio Harris drops to 7th. Theo Attis in 8th. Head of Adam in 9th on the track, but then on Pent, Marcel will take it. Aiden 10th, Archer 11th, Ultimate John will take home 12th, head of Epic OJ in 13th, and Team Juiceman takes home 14th place. But Nelu Safu manages to get clear of the drivers behind due to whatever happened between Adam and V10 Leo, and that had just been enough to pull to get enough of a margin and let the rest of the field fight over P2. Nelu Safu takes victory in what is a very, very good race from him. Whew, that is just a third distance of what is to come in about 25 minutes time once we get through the proceedings of the qualifying and the formation lap yet to come. We have Nelu Safu, Sausage Joe. I'm actually going to put it in that one. Nelu Safu, Sausage Joe, AMS9, who did an excellent job from P17 on the grid to get 3rd. Adam 4th with the fastest lap. Brand 5th, V10 Leo 6th, Rio Harris 7th, Theo Attis in 8th. Marcel in 9th, Aiden 10th, Archer in 11th, Ultimate John in 12th, Epic OJ in 13th, Team Juiceman is the final finisher in 14th, with Washed, CWL Racing and Strikey all retiring from the sprint race. That is the sprint results. We are now going to go into an 18-minute qualifying session, and it is just going to get even more intense for these drivers as we just load back into the next session. It is going to be go very, very shortly. Marcel has left, so I'll have to get him back in. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Why is that? I can't get Marcel back in because I've got to wait until that loads. Lovely. Invite to requests. There you go, Marcel. I've sent you re-invited to Marcel. Hopefully he gets back in very shortly. But 18-minute qualifying session is a go. We now need to just get back going again. I've already sent an invite. Let me just quickly. Hopefully Marcel gets back in. But we are go again. Everyone is just waiting now to get themselves sorted. Give themselves a moment because we should be going. And here comes the first driver out of the pit lane. No one was really quite rushing this time round, like we saw in the sprint quali session. And out comes one of the Alpines. I'm not sure which one. Is it Rio Harris or is it Team Juiceman? It is Team Juiceman who has come out the pit lane this early part of the session. And now everyone who start slowly filing out the pits in this 18-minute session, and we can get going again. What a sprint quali, and what a sprint race we had. Now it's time for normal proceedings to resume just a few minutes later than usual. These drivers know what to do now. Qualify 18 minutes. They have their understanding of timings and bearings and what they need to do. Marcel has just left again. Get Marcel back in. Marcel's been invited. So with that in mind, we've now just got 17 drivers who are looking to fight for pole. Who can take it? We're gonna stay on with Team Juiceman, who's going to set the first flying lap of the session as everyone starts to slowly file out the pit. Alpine into turn 1 immediately invalidates. Unfortunate for the Alpine. Luckily, a very short lap, so it doesn't take too much out of the tyres either. So instead, we are going to go back to Aiden, who is starting their flying lap, and we'll go on with the Aston Martin into turn 1. And just like keep seeing track limits on the exit of turn 1, and we go down towards turn 2. Now he's got a little bit of time to think of where you're going to brake into turn 3, flat through turn 2, not even a corner. As we go into turn 3, fastest, well, I'm not going to say if it's 16.0 in sector 1. ERS being used down towards turn 4. Can Aston Martin put a very solid time on the balls? As you don't want to invalidate now. You want to just get a banker and then get a flyers in properly. The bankers don't need to be 100%. They just need to be something you can work off of. As we go through turn 6 into turn 7. 44.6 in the first 2 sectors. Keeping it in 5th gear. Round that long left-hander of turn 7. Through turn 8 and up towards the penultimate corner now. Double right-hander of turn 9 and turn 10. Don't even blink through there. Don't even blink through turn a final corner. Oh, a very, very quick corners to end the lap before crossing the line of a 4.0. That is the time everyone will be chasing, and he'll be chasing as well. CWL Racing goes for a 3.7 just behind him. The Haas has done an excellent job there to take the fastest lap in 3 tenths, nearly 3 tenths over a second quicker than Aiden. And we've just got everyone filing through now to try and get their laps in and sorted. V10 Leo out. It has got an invalidated lap, so we'll try and find someone else who is on a lap. Ultimate John is on a lap. He is also invalidated. Is anyone not invalidated, please? I don't think there is anyone at the moment. So we're going to go back to V10 Leokas, who's going to start the next lap. Next lap of a driver who hasn't set a lap, and then we're going to go yellow flag for him just to slow down, be waiting to let someone through, and that is going to be the Haas, and the Ferrari is going to just sit there that little bit longer just to try and get some clean air. The Haas comes into the pit lane, I believe, so that is him coming into the pit. So it's just going to be the Scuderia going for a flying lap, as well as the Red Bull of Sausage Joe, who is just behind him. And now, going into turn 1, we go. The Ferrari got to try and reclaim the pole position that they lost in the sprint qualifying to Adam. Can the Ferrari go top the time sheets? 15.6 in the first sector, 4 tenths quicker than what Aiden done in their first sector. And that is a very, very solid and very respectable sector 1. Now down towards turn 4. Can the Ferrari just do exactly what they're doing in sprint quality? Just getting this time straight on the board and that basically be in it. As we now go through the turn 6 down towards turn 7. The Ferrari 54.2 in the first 2 sectors. Very, very quick lap this is as we go up towards turn 9 now. So we darts in, brake slightly if that let off. You can go really as close to flat as ever through that corner. Now final corner down to 4th or 5th, depends on what you like. It's a 3.5 there, 3.7 there for Sausage Joe, but that Ferrari looks excellently quick straight off the bat again in this lap. Big race forecast is wet start, dry middle, and rain for the end. Thank you, Rolly. I've just come across that. And this is going to be very, very interesting qualifying session because we haven't quite seen AMS Knight. We haven't quite seen the true pace of a couple other drivers up and down the field. Rio Harris has invalidated, so we'll find someone else who has not. Ultimate John has done a lap of 4.7, so it will be Brown who is the next driver to cross the line, going up towards turn 9 into turn 10. The final corner of the lap, just swoop it in now towards the line. A 4.0 puts himself P5 just behind Aiden, couple 7 tenths clear of Ultimate John. As Adam goes to start their flying lap, going into turn 1 we go. The Aston Martin got to try and reclaim a pole position again, like they did in the sprint quality. Looked to be fastest, but now AMS Knight, if they're not going to decide to do a last to first again, will be in this session. A 15.6 in the first sector. We're going to continue on for the Aston Martin. As we go down towards turn 4, can Adam get the best position to start off with? Because at the moment V10 Leo is down currently in P1. Their rival in qualifying could very much become their big rival throughout the rest of the season. Very good sector 2 as well. Looks to be fastest in sector 2 as we go up towards the final 2 corners. Just 2 corners, barely a braking point here. Just about a braking point through the final bit, just to go down a couple gears. Very fast through there, goes very wide, almost invalidates, but keeps it on the white line of 3.4 sector time, nearly half a tenth quicker, over half a tenth quicker than Adam. I have been pinged by someone. I think let's have a quick look, as Adam's done a very good job there to go fastest. Aim, oh guys, this can you get back in? Aim. Oh yeah. Someone. Oh, washed. Okay. I see what you mean. I'm with you now. Wait, fine. Wait, the right one actually. That's help. There you go. Thank you, Knight. That's appreciated. Wash, you've been resetting an invite, so send it for. Need a heads up. So now we're going to go back to qualified now. I do apologise about that. Just a brief moment. We're going to see Rio Harris currently not on a lap. So we'll go. Oh, that's a very big spin there. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I might have scared him just because he jumped on the brakes so quickly. Oh, sorry, Rio. We're going to go back to the Mercedes of... no, we're going to have Vera Attis, who's going to go P3. The heads up. P3 for Vera Attis as we now go through the next couple of phases of the session. Track's starting to get more rubbered in now, so it is going to certainly help these drivers. We're now we're going to see Nello Safid go through sector 2 at this stage. The Ferrari took sprint win, but can they recreate that for the main race? AMS Knight is on an out lap. It's on and looking to try and go for it. 44.2 in the first 2 sectors combined, and at this stage it is looking to be not quite as quick as Adam and V10 Leo's lap, but could certainly match them if they have got enough tyres in comparison to the end of the lap. 3.6 for Archer, who goes into P3 and then gets immediately dropped down to P4 by Nelu Safu, who goes for 3.6 themselves. But very much just a tenth and a half between the top three right now. 2 tenths, less than 2, or less than 2 tenths covering the top 5 positions, and this is getting more and more tense. Juiceman is going to go and be the next driver who hasn't set a lap time, who is setting a flying lap. AMS Knight has just started his lap, so we'll stay and look at him, keep an eye on him as well, as Juiceman goes through turn 6 and down towards turn 7, 45.4 in the first 2 sectors, not quite matching up to the top end of the sheets, but can certainly put themselves right in the middle of the pack right now. As we go towards the final couple of corners, the Alpine looks to try and put themselves in a better position for the main race. Round the final corner, up towards the line, what can the Alpine do? As we go towards the line, it is a 5.3, not quite the lap they're looking for, and they're going to have to find some time to improve that. We're going to go to AMS Knight now, our championship leader, and a very good drive in the first sprint race. Looks to try and topple qualifying this time round, just to show his utter dominance in every single possible manner. Up towards the final couple of corners, got a little bit of slipstream there from the Haas in front. Up towards the final corner now, can the mystery machine go fastest? No, not quite. A P3, 1 minute 3.615. Puts himself right in the middle, right at the top end of the 1 minute 3.6 set group, or 4 now, with 300ths, not even that separating them. Meanwhile, Fira Attis has gone fastest with a 3.4 himself, gone 300 quicker than Adam. That is a very good lap there from him. Sausage Joe is currently starting a flying lap. We're going to stay on with the Red Bull, who is flying through right now. As we go down towards turn 3, 200ths down in the first sector, maybe not quite the line we're looking through there, but continuing on now as we go down towards turn 4. At this stage, the Red Bull currently sits in P7, looks to improve upon their time and their position, but we're going to go through turn 5 towards turn 6. Oh, and that's a massive oversteer. That's a spinner. And the Red Bull into the barriers. That's damage. Oh, just about pushing that one too quickly. And that is a very, very, very tough one for Sausage Joe. At this stage in the session where you're going to only get one more final run, you're not going to have the confidence by the end of it. Oh, that is very unlucky there for him striking me. I've actually gone P3 with a 3.5 himself. The Red RBs very quick in qualifying, but they can't maybe just be too unstable on their setups. So that is going to be something we're going to have to watch out for later in the session. Bran is going to be the next driver. Actually, Wash might be on lap. No, never mind. So it will be Bran who starts and finishes the next flying lap. Well, Bran, down towards turn 1 we go. Can the Williams put themselves further up the field? Currently sitting in P13, but 6 tenths covering the top 13 positions. It is very close up there, with only 4 drivers not in that region. One of them hasn't even set a lap time yet. Bran continuing on now down towards turn 4. Can the Williams just about now the shortest circuit in terms of track time on the Cannon, not the shortest circuit overall, that goes to the streets of Monaco, but the Austria is certainly the quickest in terms of lap time. Going to go through turn 6 down towards turn 7 to nearly quarter of a second up. That will currently put themselves into around the region of P9, P8 to P10. But can he get through into the final couple of corners? We go penultimate corner into the final corner. What a lap from what lap can we see from Brown up towards the line? A 3.8 puts himself right into P10, half a tenth quicker of Washed, but not quite good enough to get past CWL Racing and Sausage Joe. And Bran is going to be looking for improvements. 3.5 minutes left in the session. Who is currently out on track? Do you know what? I'm going to go back to Rio. We're going to give him a bit of a chance here to redeem himself after that spin. Hopefully, Rio, our Division 3 champion, can really show us what a lap around the Red Bull Ring is really like. ERS on, DRS enabled for the Alpine. Can Rio do what we know he can do? We know Rio is quick. We know he can nail a lap. Can he do so this time round? Turn 1 at absolutely beautifully done there, my friend. We go down towards turn 2 and turn 3, flat through turn 2, don't even notice it. Half, 3/4 of temp quicker into turn 3 we go. Just about gets that turned in, hits the apex, gets up the gears now. DRS, ERS enabled once more. Just use it up as much like battery as possible before diving in to turn 4. Just chucks it into that corner. No worry about those tyres, just full pace. We're going to go down towards turn 6 as we go long left-hander. Just the car understeers and understeers over the bumps, but he manages to keep it settled. We're going to fastest set to 2 according to our timesheets. The Alpine looks to go to the top of the timesheets here. Oh, very good job there. Very high commitment through the penultimate corner. For just about keeping it in the final corner up towards the line. A 3.6 puts himself to P5. Excellent job there from the Alpine. And now it has an opportunity to do an outlap. Get that recharge on that battery. And then go again very shortly. However, there's a couple drivers who say they want to get to that P5 and potentially higher by the end of the session. So Rio's got his work cut out. Will that lap suffice? We'll have to wait and see. Ultimate John currently on a lap. We're going to go... that's the wrong one. That's the right button. Ultimate John currently on a lap. Team Houston is also on a lap, who is just ahead of him. We'll see whether these two can reel themselves into the rest of the field positions. Brown has retired from the session in the pit lane. Not going to get another time in for the Williams. So currently deciding that P11's the best they can do. And we're going to go through turn 6 into turn 7, a tenth and a bit up. That will help, but can they make the improvements necessary in the final couple of corners? Team Houston will get across the line first. We'll see what both these drivers can do in terms of time. Epic OJ as well, looking to set their one and only time of the session into the final corner. That's wide. That's invalidation there for Ultimate John. Very unlucky there for the McLaren driver. Team Houston not going to set a quicker time either. They're going to go for another outlap and then go for a final run. We're going to go back to V10 Leo, who is currently on a lap 100th quicker in the first sector. Can they go any quicker in the second? Nearly 2 tenths quicker. The fight's on. Can they get that 10th over Fiat Attis in the RB? The Ferrari going to go through the final couple of corners now. Can V10 Leo put themselves on pole? Like we saw a number of times last season, a couple once or twice this season, up towards the line. Fastest 3.2, 2.5 tenths clear of the rest of the field. Who's next across the line? That is Epic OJ, who goes P13. The next across the line after that is going to be Adam, who comes up to the line. They've been validated 2 tenths quicker. That would have been enough for pole, and unfortunately that invalidation has certainly cost them. Rio Harris will come into the pit lane with an invalidation. At the moment, the best they can do is P5. Can anyone topple that Archer through the final couple of corners? The Mercedes showing ultimate pace in qualifying, not showing the best tyre degradation, but goes to P2, 3.4 for the Mercedes. Next couple of drivers across the line. CWL Racing will cross it. AMS Knight will cross the line, 3.6, and that is the P9 for AMS Knight. Nelu Safu to P7. Then we're going to see Marcel cross the line, who goes 4.2, and then it is Wash who goes to P2. Excellent stuff there. Aiden now is the next driver to cross the line. Going to go round the final couple of runs. Currently caught second up in the first 2 sectors. Up towards the line. What does he do? 3.5 tenths clear. Goes P12. That is a very good job from him. Fiat Attis currently invalidated. The driver who was on provisional pole position only a minute ago has lost that time and is down to P4 for the Grand Prix. But V10 Leo will take pole position for the Austrian Grand Prix. Washed in an excellent job will go P2. Archer third. Fieratis in fourth. Adam in P5. What qualifying session. But V10 Leo, class of the field there. Wash doing a very good job to get that close. But unfortunately, today was not his day for the pole position. But has put himself in a much better position for the race. And that is qualifying over. Oh, come on. Hurry up. We'd like to see the results, please. Thank you. 14 seconds. Come on. And that is qualifying over. V10 Leo on pole position. And that is going to be an interesting start to the race. V10 Leo start on pole. Unfortunately, couldn't get the whole grid, but the bottom three are certainly there in the session. But it is intermediate conditions for the start of the race. Is it going to set them to intermediate in terms of tyres? I'd certainly hope so if you're in this position. But if it's dry tyres for the start, but wet conditions are in play, who will be in the best position? Because you're going to all of a sudden, you've got to jump straight into the pit lane if you don't think it's going to dry up and it's going to get to the position where it's going to be inters, or it's going to stay like this, or it's just drizzle and they can't quite it doesn't quite get wet enough for intermediates. But yeah, now I'm gonna start getting ready to go again. Formation lap is a go for these drivers. Is it dries? Internet is into, so I've been very blind. So it's formation lap time for the drivers. I was going to say, if they set them to dry tyres, then that is a very, very interesting start for the race, and chaotic start if we're going to have it. But 36 laps are on the cards. V10 Leo starts on pole position, head of Washed, Archer third, Fear Attis in fourth, Adam fifth, Sausage Jones sixth, Strikey seventh, Nelly Safir in eighth, CWL Racing in ninth place, 10th for Rio Harris, AMS Knight, Aiden 12th, 13th for Brand, 14th for Epic OJ, 15th for Marcel, Ultimate John in 16th, and Team Juicement in 17th. Intermediate. I don't know how long this rain's going to last, but if it lasts long enough, if it doesn't last too long, we could see drivers then mix and match their tyres, try and get the best position possible. We're going to quickly see if there's anyone that has given us any information quickly. A very good lap there from V10 Leo. Washed very good laps from both from everyone. Very, very close at the top, basically in the top 14 positions by the end of it. So we'll see. But that's in the effect. Why are you going into the pist, Washed? You now just put yourself back into reset. Lovely. That was an interesting decision there from Washed. But we're now going to go to the formation lap. V10 Leo lining up on pole position, head of Washed, Archer in third, Fiora Attis in fourth, Adam fifth, Sausage Joe sixth, Striking, Nelus up with CWL Racing, Rio Harris out top 10, AMS Knight down in 11th. But if anyone can go through the field, we saw it in the sprint race, we'll see it again in the feature. We're going to go to the 5. Red lights for the Austrian Grand Prix, EXA Division 2, round 5. It is lights out on the road. We go to these drivers getting away very slowly as they try to get some grip in those intermediates. Side by side between V10 Leo and Washed. V10 Leo keeping it around the outside, managing to defend. Meanwhile, Fear Attis gets ahead into P3. P4 for Archer as we go down towards turn 3, side by side between two race leaders. Up the inside goes Wash, tries to get it stopped, just about does, keeps enough room for V10 Leo on the outside of the track, who gets the better run as we go down towards turn 4, and the V10 Leo in the Ferrari manages to keep the position. Meanwhile, it's all sorts of fighting further back. Down towards turn 4 we go. Up the inside goes Wash, gets a bit of contact there, bit of an oversteer on the exit. Meanwhile, Leo managing to keep it just under wraps. But unfortunately, it's kept it down into P2. Meanwhile, up the inside goes Fear Attis, trying to go for a move on Archer into P3. Meanwhile, Washed and V10 Leo go side by side into turn 7. Can he make the move stick, or is he going to quite just to lose position? Washed managing to keep it on the inside into turn 8. We're going to go down towards turn 9, side by side between the Haas and the Ferrari. Is he going to yield? The Haas yields. Ferrari, V10 Leo, I'll pulse it back into the lead. Meanwhile, Fear Attis into P3, drops to 4th, goes Archer. Sausage Joe remains in P5. Fear Attis on a charge, trying to make a move straight away on Washed, who is trying to defend straight away and try and get an attack upon V10 Leo. No DRS. Oh, never mind. DRS is certainly enabled. It is dried up severely for these drivers. As we go down towards turn 3, we go. Can watch the attack. V10 Leo goes to the outside. That'll turn to the inside for Fioratis, who's trying to make the move but can't get the grip there. As we go up towards turn 4, it is very, very difficult conditions because the tires will start to overheat because there's not enough grip on the surface. V10 Leo has to do some defending now because washes up the inside. Can the Haas make the move on their senior engine powered team? And not quite at this stage. V10 Leo managing to defend. It is also shots up the inside. Goes the RB. As the V-Carb tries to take the P2 spot. Yes, they do. Washed down to third for second for Fioratis. And at this moment in time, Archer is going to have to try and get some attacking now. We go up to third for Archer. Washed, not managing to have the best of luck in his last couple corners. Drops the fourth place. Sausage Joe's going to put them under pressure as well. But the Haas managing to keep it in the race at this stage. We now go on to lap 3 of the race. And everything has certainly kicked off. We now go down towards turn 3. Fioratis is now going to have a chance to attack V10 Leo for P1. Dive bomb up the inside into turn 3. Doesn't hit the apex. Both of them stay on the track. Here comes Archer. He goes up the inside of V10 Leo. Tries to make the move stick. Not quite. There's the ERS and the usage of slipstream is helping V10 Leo keep it on the outside. Archer trying to make the attack. Goes up the inside of the Ferrari. Makes the move stick for the Mercedes. Up to P2. Our second row starters have made it into the first row for themselves. Fioratis and Archer move up to P1 and P2. As Bosch just dropped down to 5th now. AMS Knight has just got past Rio Harris as the Sauber has just made the move on the Alpine. As we go through the final couple corners off the lap, Strike is putting Wash back under pressure. Wash goes a little bit wide there. As we go through the penultimate corner into the final corner now, Strikey looks to have the edge in terms of pure pace. We're going to go down towards turn 1. DRS for both drivers certainly helping them. Sorry, helping Washed in defence. But Strikey is that much closer to that rear end. Meanwhile, Archer is going to go side by side with Fioratis up the inside. Takes the DRS lead. Here comes V10 Leo, who dives up the inside. Almost goes into the side. Fioratis makes the move stick. Not quite, because here comes the RB. The V-Cop down towards turn 4. Can the V-Cop take the position back? Or will V10 Leo keep P2? Which they only just lost a lap or so ago. And takes that position just maybe. Not quite. The RB is going to continue attacking into this left-hander of turn 7. This is going to allow the Mercedes the opportunity to get some breathing space. 8 tenths is the gap between them right now. And that has allowed Fioratis to take back P2. V10 Leo having to just about concede. But they both fight for another day, specifically for this battle for the lead. Meanwhile, AMS Knight and Rio Harris continue to have battles as AMS Knight has a little bit of loss there. AMS Knight has actually lost position there, and I think has had some sort of disconnection because that Sauber has severely dropped. I'm going to quickly check to make sure there isn't any sort of disconnection in terms of Knight's connection. We haven't seen any message, so unfortunately we're going to have to continue on. Wonder what happened tonight there. We're going to continue on now. The battle of the lead. Archer, Fioratis going to go for the battle of the lead. The Mercedes, the RB, going to continue to fight with V10 Leo, Sausage Joe. The field is starting to spread a little bit more now as the groups begin to form in terms of pace. AMS Knight up the inside of Strikey, not quite able to make the move stick. Rio Harris drop behind now. I'm not exactly sure what's happened with these two, but they connect. One of their, I think, AMS Knight's connection did stall for a brief moment. He is back now, though, back racing, the championship leader. We continue on now. 4 attempts for the gap for Fioratis behind Archer. Archer comes into the pit lane, decides that the race is turning to a dry weather condition, becomes the first driver to come into the box. A couple more drivers begin to follow, but not everyone does. Aiden gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits and multiple warnings this early in the race. Very difficult to do so. Very much someone, I think it was Rio, called this the track limit Grand Prix at the start of the race. before tonight's race. It certainly will turn into that if these drivers are not careful enough. V10 Leo, Vera Artist, Sausage Joe will become the battle of the lead. These top three within DRS. V10 Leo gets the exit, but has to put the power down quite severely, and that is ultimately not helping the tyres. To the outside goes the Ferrari. Can he make the move stick as we go round the outside into turn 4? Makes the move stick as V10 Leo takes back the lead that they once lost only a couple laps ago. Fieratis tries to make the dive bomb into turn 6, but not quite able to do so. As we go into turn 7, bit more battling now. Strikey and AMS Knight side by side. The Sauber trying to get by the RB and does make the move stick into turn and the exit of turn 8. But he come into the pit lane. He comes. He drivers have to be very careful of this pit lane. But a couple of them stay out. Strikey forced to stay out as the rest of the field comes into the pits. Strikey was behind his teammate who has to box next. And unfortunately, this will cause a significant loss for the RB on this very lap. What tyres do people go for at this stage? A lot of drivers switching to the hards. One driver in Adam and Ulman John makes that 2 to the mediums. And the rest of the field switching to hards. Archer takes the lead and looks to have made the right call in terms of boxing, and has done so by a significant margin here. 3.6 seconds in the gap, and that is a massive gap from a Mercedes who pitted right at the perfect time. Rio Harris, who's also pitted, is up to P4. Going to be fighting though against Fieratis for the position, as Fieratis is not going to let it go easily, but Alpine manages to take the position that RB has to concede, as Adam is going to try and gain advantage as well, because he pitted 2 laps earlier, and he's trying to make the position on that RB as he goes around the outside, gets forced a bit wide, and Adam has to drop not just 1 position but potentially 2, as Sausage Joe tries to make an attack, not quite able to do so, as the Aston Martin just about managing to keep the position. Strikey now comes to the pits and becomes their final intermediate runner to come in. Archer will then take the lead by a significant margin. What a turn of fortunes for the Mercedes. They've just got to keep their tyres in check now throughout the rest of the race. Fastest lap for the Mercedes, and the Silver Arrow gets flying. We go down towards turn 1. Can V10 Leo manage to keep Rio Harris at bay as we go down towards turn 3? He certainly will do so this time round, but the DRS for Rio Harris will certainly come into place. He goes into turn 3, right up the chuff of the Ferrari. He might go for a move into turn 4. Can the Alpine, who looks to be much more comfortable in these conditions and looks to be trying to attack V10 Leo, goes into turn 4. Rio Harris at this moment is flying right now as these drivers continue on through lap 8 of 36. It's a yellow flag. That is Epic OJ, who's gone round and has got caused the yellow flag, and that is down to P12 for the Red Bull. I don't think they have any sort of damage. They would be lucky to get away with that, if anything. We can go back to the battle for P2 now. V10 Leo, Rio Harris, Vera Attis, Adam, Sausage Joe, every single driver down to 10th is in this DRS train right now. Who can take it? Who can try and then go after Archer, who's got a humongous lead right now? But that we saw the tyre deck in the sprint race for the Mercedes. Will that affect them in the feature? V10 Leo keeping them all at bay. Meanwhile, CWL Racing making a move from P12. AMS Knight going to go for a move on Brown and Washed. I think both of them got caught up in some form of incident as well. AMS Knight now going to try and use the dry running to try and use that pace to try and get through this field. The Sauber, the championship leader, not looking to drop points here today like he carried on in Singapore. Didn't lose points there, and just now is going to try and overtake his rivals. At the moment though, it is coming. A 3.3 second gap is now the gap between Archer and V10 Leo. Adam gets a 3 second time penalty in that train. Is not what you want to be doing if you're at the Aston Martin, because at the moment you're going to drop down quite a number of positions. Yes, you've got a long race ahead of you, but these drivers are also similarly matched on pace. It could be sorry, it could be opportunity for these drivers to lose out. We now see V10 Leo having to get having to do a little bit more than what he was having to do a couple laps ago against Rio Harris. That Alpine is much closer than what it was before. Meanwhile, Sausage Joe is going to go on the attack against Adam, the medium running Aston Martin with the 3-second time penalty, not looking as comfortable at the stage compared to the Red Bull behind him. Adam goes as our last. As our sprint pole sitter did so well in pace strong in the sprint race at the moment, does not look to be best pleased in this main race. Sausage Joe, our last time out race winner, will certainly be on him. AMS Knight is not exactly having the most fun with the connection this time round. As we can see Sausage Joe going to go for a move on around the outside. Decides to make the move very quickly. Adam not going to fight that. Nelu Safu up the inside into P6. We go. Bit of contact there. Said to Adam, no, you're not. I'm not having you come anywhere near me. I'll just get out of my way and we're going to crack on with this one. P6 for Nelu Safu. Adam gets lost another position to AMS Knight, who jumps to P7. But AMS Knight not looking to be. Could either jump or drop in any moment because of that connection, which we haven't noticed at all this season. It's just a bit of an interesting one that is happening today. Meanwhile, Rio Harris will have to get some defending because Fira Atus is trying and get a move done. As Fira just looking to try and get by the Alpine. Adam comes into the pit lane, struggling with those medium tyres compared to the hard runners, maybe looking to put on the hards to potentially go to the end now, or has to do another 2 stops yet. Team Juiceman goes into the 3-second time penalty window and joins Adam and Aiden in the penalty group. We're now going to go turn 3 down towards turn 4, DRS for Rio Harris, just kind of being kept at bay by V10 Leo, who is slowly catching Archer. At this stage, AMS Knight going for a move up the inside. Nelu Safu, championship rivals, both fighting for position. Nelu Safu managing to defend that time round, but the Sauber is on a charge all of a sudden. As we go down through turn 6 towards turn 7, as AMS Knight just has to wait to set up the next move. We're going to go into the corner as AMS Knight just to keep keeping in touching distance of P2, which is what he really wants. He wants to extend that championship lead by as much of a margin as possible. He can go to P1, but as this group begins to catch the race leaders, for AMS Knight, it's about a jump. Yep, there you go. Unfortunately, AMS Knight not having the most fun times with terms of connection. So we're going to continue back now. V10 Leo, Rio Harris, Fira Atus, Sausage Joe, and Nelu Safu and AMS Knight. They're going to continue on now. Yellow flag. That is for Team Juiceman, who has spun round on the exit of turn 1. Very unlucky day for him. As we go into a bit of a DRS train. Now, it's very, very difficult to get out of this one, especially if the leader of the pack is just that little bit faster than the driver behind in terms of pace throughout the rest of the lap. It is very difficult for the drivers behind to do anything about them. We're going to go into turn 9 down towards turn 10. Oh, that's a very wide moment there for Sausage Joe, who goes off the circuit. That'll be a track limits warning. But V10 Leo is very much slowly catching Archer in P1. That Mercedes, though, is going to have a little bit of an opportunity, though, because they're not going to be pushing nearly as hard. They're going to have their ERS certainly a little bit better position than the rest of these drivers. Meanwhile, Fira Atis is going to have a look at trying to get past the Alpine, because he's not, because at the moment, Rio is not doing enough to get by V10 Leo. We go down towards turn 4. Just not enough. Here we go, Furiatis. It's up the inside. He's had enough of waiting around trying to go wait for these two to having a battle. But Furiatis has decided to make the move himself. Dive bomb. Takes it into P turn 4. Finishes it by turn 6. That RB is now going to put their get their very much their own hands dirty against V10 Leo. Let's see whether the RB can catch and overtake the Ferrari and then go after Mercedes. You're going to end lap 14 and start lap 15. Still got a fair bit of this race to go yet. It's just a matter of times who's kept their tyres in check and managed to optimise their degradation to meet their the optimised strategy for them. Who can nail the strategy as well? Furiatis is going to have that DRS. They're going to put much more pressure on V10 Leo come turn 4, but the Ferrari is going to do enough in the third break. DRS for the RB, and he's going to get closer and closer, but not enough. He's now half a second astray, and at the moment V10 Leo's done an excellent job in defence. That pace of that Ferrari is certainly not going to be denied. Washed, unfortunately for him, the man who got P2 is dropping down to P12 at this moment and further. That Haas not having the best of days, but we're going to continue on now through the rest of this lap. V10 Leo, Archer is just catching Archer, but that gap is slightly extended over this last lap. Maybe looking to use that ERS more throughout the rest down these straights here, these 3 DRS, triple DRS straight. We're going to carry on as Furiatis is much closer to the Ferrari than he was only a lap ago. He's going to try and take the opportunity, but V10 Leo is on top of it right now. That little bit of a mistake there from the RB has allowed the Ferrari to get some defence, get to the defence of turn 3, and is now going to set him up into turn 4 potentially. If the RB can't get close enough, he's charging his battery as well in this train, and that's the thing. You've got to charge your battery enough to try and jump the car in front. He'll also be using their batteries. Just if you can use your battery enough and use the DRS, get close enough on exits just to get as a move done, an opportunity at getting a move done, because it is not as easy as said as done. We now go through the final couple of corners. Wash has retired from the race. Very unlucky day for the Haas driver, but we're going to continue on to lap 16 of 17 or 36, pardon me, as we go down towards turn 1. This train has certainly become a bit more of an interesting one, because you have so many drivers with so many stories in this situation. Can any of them get by? Meanwhile, we're going to see a move by Strikey further out back in the field. We're going to see them go past Brand 4P8, the RB 4.2 seconds back now from this group of 7 in front. But there's so many stories unfolding at the front of the field that it's just hard not to take a look at it, because at the moment the championship leader down in P7 behind their main championship rivals. If they stay in that place, then it could end up being a net loss against the likes of Leo, against Sausage Joe, who won last time out, and Nelu Safu, who won the sprint race. Amos Knight losing 2 points there to Nelu Safu, will lose another 2 points as things stand here against the Ferrari. 3 second time penalty though for Rio Harris. That in this train is not what you want to be doing if you're the Alpine, being the only driver in that top 7 positions who has a penalty. It's very, very frustrating. But Sausage Joe is going to try and make the move on Rio Harris. Rio Harris, I think, made some sort of error. It's going to now Lelu Safu to make a move around the outside. Rio trying to defend. Rio using as much of the track as physically possible, but also giving a little bit of room to the Ferrari. Meanwhile, Rio trying to make the defence work. Is it going to be enough? Because Lelu Safu is going to make a move up the inside. Goes AMS Knight. Dive bomb there from the Sauber. Is that going to be opportunity achieved? Has succeeded? Yes, it is. That is the move done for the Sauber. Rio, unfortunately for him, has lost 3 positions in the space of that lap. Rio trying to make a move again on AMS Knight through turn 7, but unfortunately unable to do so. But in all that commotion, that has given a little bit of breathing space to Vera Attis and V10 Leo in front, who now have a little bit of a margin ahead of that group of now 3, because Rio Harris comes into the pit lane. It will come up and set another set of tyres. Vera Attis gets a massive load of oversteer on the exit of turn 1. That is not going to help their chances at getting towards Leo, who is now almost in DRS range. I think they might have just about got in there ahead of Archer, who has done an excellent job in terms of managing the pace. But there's going to be DRS coming, and it's going to be a very fast Ferrari who is going to be coming towards the back of that Mercedes. That DRS was taken by V10 Leo, and this could be the opportunity. Archer needs to now get some defensive driving going, because that Mercedes will be in very much trouble come the end of this lap, as they go through 8 and 9 up towards turn 10. The Mercedes looking to try and get some DRS, but unfortunately will go past the Red Bull before he can even do so. V10 Leo goes by, gets DRS, so does Vera Attis, who has been stuck behind him for a number of laps. This is the closest it has been. However, this could be the opportunity if he can get through turn 1. Clean off much better, but V10 Leo again just having a very, very good run himself. V10 Leo looks to be consistently good through there. As we go towards turn 3, dive bomb from the RB, as he doesn't quite manage to do so. Tries to put the Ferrari off as we go into turn 3. There's going to be opportunity here for the V-Carb. As we go down towards turn 4, he's going to have DRS as we go into the next corner, but not quite anything can be done. As we go into turn 4, that DRS from Archer by V10 Leo has certainly come in clutch. Dive bomb into turn 6, contact between the two, that sent both of them off. V10 Leo has gone off the circuit, maybe. No, he's carried on, but Vera Attis dive bomb costing him severely down to P6, and that is not what you're going to be seeing from the V-Carb, and that has sent him firmly out of position in terms of the DRS. That's Leo round. Leo's got him spinning round the penultimate corner. I don't know if there was any contact between him and Sausage Joe, but that has cost him severely. The Archer gone into the pits. 10-second time penalty for Leo. That is pure frustration there for the Ferrari, and oh, that is so unfortunate there for the Scuderia. Sausage Joe will now lead the way ahead of Nelu Safo, ahead of AMS Knight. How all things have changed in one single lap. It has gone from 0 to 100 in about the space of, well, it is the space of 6 corners here, really. As we go down towards turn 4, AMS Knight dive bomb on his championship rival in P2. He goes for the move. Can he make the move stick? Nelu Safu, I think actually it might be the other way around. I think Zoran's actually P2. But Nelu Safu, one of their championship rivals of AMS Knight, has just lost the position to the Sauber, and AMS Knight is going to try and go after Sausage Joe, go after the race lead. How tides have turned in the space of a couple of laps. It was P7 only 5 laps ago. It's now P2 on track. Potentially will lose down to P3 or 4. Actually with P3, because Archer will be the one who takes the position, takes the lead at this stage. But AMS Knight, Nelu Safi, Sausage Joe all come into the pit lane. Takes a time penalty for Vera Attis, who comes into pit lane as well. Strikey will take the lead at this stage, but how tides have turned by just penalties and collisions, minor collisions and spins. It's all kicked off in these laps. Rio Harris and Archer will take the provisional race lead in second place, and Archer will go after Aiden, who is currently P2, go by into P2. DRS for the race leader. As we go, well, the provisional race leader has now got a 6.8 second gap to Strikey. Will certainly come into the pits later on in the next couple laps. RB, the Mercedes is now provisionally leading this race ahead of Rio Harris, ahead of Adam, ahead of Sausage Joe, Vito, Leo, AMS Knight, and Bran and Nelu Safu. Nelu Safu making a move there on Bran. I'm not sure what happened to Nelu there, because he's dropped quite a little bit further behind and what was intended for the Ferrari. AMS Knight in currently P8, but the penalty for V10 Leo is absolutely race ruining. Massive side there from Aiden. Oh, very, very lucky to get away with that one. This now leaves us with Archer, fastest lap of the race, to lead the race. Wrong button. As those penalties are starting to stack up for some drivers. Sausage Joe, who hasn't got a penalty at this stage, looks to be on a good streak right now. Adam gonna lose a couple of positions here because here comes V10 Leo and Sausage Joe. They both go by them. Aston Martin. Here comes V10 Leo up the inside into turn 3. Can Ferrari make the move stick? Leo not quite able to make that one stick at this time. Joe down towards turn 4. Can he complete the move? The Scuderia certainly completes the move at this stage and just continues on as we go down throughout the rest of the lap. V10 Leo up into P3 on track. Rio Harris doing an undercut of the century there. Same with Archer. Both getting themselves more of a gap now because this is the opportunity for them not to use their pace, but use the undercut to try and keep ahead of the Ferrari, keep ahead of the Red Bull, keep ahead of the Sauber. And at the moment, it might work out very, very well for these drivers. So 3-second tyre penalty again for Rio Harris, brings him up to 6. 3 seconds for Archer as well is not the most helpful in this situation as it's all just changing every single lap. We've now got DRS for Sausage Joe on V10 Leo. AMS Knight following suit or behind the two drivers in behind the two in third and fourth. But AMS Knight and Sausage Joe looking prime position right now because they've got penalties on lap 24 of 36. The 3 in front certainly do, varying degrees at this stage. But if they can get past Leo and get towards Archer, their race win could certainly still be on based off of penalties. We are going to go through turn 7 now and up towards turn 8 and turn 9. Sausage Joe and AMS Knight. AMS Knight Championship leader. Sausage Joe, race winner from last time out. V10 Leo, pole sitter from today. Nelu Safu, sprint race winner from today. Only a little bit further behind. Rio Harris, Division 3 championship winner last season. And that Archer, who has been, I believe, a race winner here before. I'm not entirely sure. There's some drivers that I have a lot of information on and I've got to do some more research. Archer is certainly our race leader right now, though. Can he hold on? He's going to have some help though, because V10 Leo and AMS Knight and V10 Leo and Rio Harris are going to be doing have penalties as well, and they're going to be defending for their lives against Sausage Joe and AMS Knight. They will not be giving this one up so easily on track as we go through turn 6 and into turn 7. That 3.9 second gap now between Archer and Rio Harris. 4 seconds is extended to Rio. Going to have to be doing some defending though, because even though that 6 second penalty is crucial, they that 10 second behind them for V10 Leo, they can't let them by because they need to try and stay within 4 seconds to gain overall advantage to take that position away from the Ferrari if they get ahead. And at the moment, it is all kicking off between these drivers. Rio Harris now gonna have to do some defending. V10 Leo got the DRS. Rio not able to do anything against the Ferrari as he goes up the inside, takes the position. Here comes Sausage Joe up the inside of Rio Harris, tries to make the move on the Alpine, just about managing to do so on exit. He will have DRS as well against the Ferrari and the Alpine, but the Alpine also has DRS as we go down towards turn 4. Can the Red Bull make the move? Sticks it to the inside, just about managing to do so as we go into turn 5, and now towards turn 6, the Red Bull has an opportunity now to go after V10 Leo, getting the move done, and then go after Archer, who has that penalty. AMS Knight up the inside of Rio Harris. Knight just doing an excellent job there to try and stick with Sausage Joe. But it's not going to be quite over there for Rio Harris because he's got to save in 4 seconds of V10 Leo, and also got to stick around just in case there is some form of incident between the drivers in front. Massive staff of oversteer there from the Alpine. Nice save though. He's also got to defend from Nelu Safu, Bran, who are coming at them. Fira Attis, who also has a time penalty as well of 16 seconds. That is all ridiculous amount. 10 seconds I know is from a speeding in the pit lane penalty. 6 is from track limits. So this is not been the most best days in terms of penalties for Rio Harris. Rio Harris said it at the, before the race. It is going to be decided. It's going to be track limits galore, but it is certainly turned into that one at this throughout the race. Everyone is starting to reach their peak amount of warnings now. Reach the penalties as we go through these last 9 laps. But Sausage Joe and Amos Knight, Nelly Safford, Bran, Strikey CWL Racing, Marcelli, and Epic OJ. I don't think Epic OJ is actually in the race though, so I think he's actually disconnected. I think. I'm not sure what's happened to Epic OJ. I haven't seen any messages. I don't see any message from OJ, so I do apologise. I was just making sure I hadn't missed anything from him. But he's been disconnected for a good while, I believe. So very unfortunate for the Red Bull. Archer leads the way. V10 Leo second, Sausage Joe third, Amos Knight fourth, Rio Harris fifth. Sausage Joe going to look to try and make a move, stick on V10 Leo, potentially not quite too far back at this moment in time. But this race is certainly not over. Anyone can still win this race. We've got still 4 or 5 drivers who can win it. Archer can win it, just but if they can keep their nose clean for another couple of laps, keep that 3-second window ahead of Sausage Joe and Amos Knight, and just keep it on 3 seconds worth of penalties. But it's going to be very difficult to do so for the Mercedes. I've completely jinxed the Mercedes there, and I'm very... I do apologise. There's been about 4 levels of commentators curse this today, but that 6 second... that is so unlucky for the Mercedes driver. He's now got hope. Unfortunately, Sausage Joe and Amos Knight have been they've been very consistent, haven't got any penalties at this stage, and at the moment I don't think they have too many warnings to their name. V10 Leo going to continue to defend from Sausage Joe. The Red Bull tries to get through the lockup smoke of the Scuderia as at the moment it looks like opportunity for the Red Bull to take victory, but Amos not second victory in a row. Amos Knight though not going to go about down quietly. So neither will Archer. V10 Leo will certainly try and hold on to P2 on track, and he's not going to be happy with that penalty either. We're now going to go down towards the final couple of corners and start lap 30 of 36. We are over 3/4 of the way through this race, and at the moment it's still some racing to go. V10 Leo just going to have to do some more defending against Sausage Joe. Sausage Joe without a penalty. Amos Knight without a penalty. Nelu Safu without a penalty. Brown without a penalty. Here comes a Sausage Joe who looks to go up the inside, not quite able to do so, and he just about manages to keep it keep his front wing at least, because he's going very, very close to the back end of that Ferrari, who's locking up and deciding to give the Red Bull a little bit of a smoke screen at every single braking zone possible. As at any point though, Amos Knight can certainly make a pounce against Sausage Joe and V10 Leo. Amos Knight has done an excellent job in the sprint race to get by people. Loves a bit of a dive bomb into turn 4. We'll see whether he can make that one move one more time tonight. Now, end of lap 30, on to lap 31. These drivers still pushing the limits, pushing the boundaries of what's known. But Sausage Joe, Amos Knight, Nelu Safu, these 3 drivers are going to be looking to try and take victory, because that 6 second for Archer is going to be probably too much to get back against the 3 behind them. And V10 Leo defending, yes, is helping, but it's not doing enough. Here you go, Brad up the inside of Rio Harris, makes the move for P6. Rio's pace is beginning to drop away now. Unfortunately, the Alpine not quite able to do enough. DRS there for Rio, tries to make the dive bomb. Oh, sure, that is very lucky not to go under the back of him. Rio just misjudging his braking point. And unfortunately, that that car does not look as easy to drive nowadays. Around the outside goes Fira Attis on Rio Harris. down to P8, goes to Alpine, but he will certainly get into at least P7 because of the amount of penalties that RB has. And if and I don't think he's too far away as Rio Harris comes into the pit lane. He is not happy with those tyres at this stage. Maybe going into puncture territory, if anything. We're going to go down towards lap 32 or 36. Sausage Joe gonna look to make a move and decides to go for it now. DRS flies by V10 Leo and just gets into P2, and 2.2 seconds now is the gap between Archer and Sausage Joe. But that's 6-second time penalty for Archer, who has been commanding this race for a long time, ever since those dry compound tyres have come into play. Unfortunately, that Mercedes, it's just kind of a sitting duck on penalties. With 3 seconds, you can at least maybe hope that the drivers behind get penalties as well, who are in that 3-second window. But the 6 seconds when the drivers behind don't have any is a little bit too much to ask for. As we go down towards the final couple of corners, Sausage Joe being P2, Rarchar will lead the way. V10 Leo will continue to put pressure on the Red Bull, but I don't think this is all she wrote, because lap 33 of 36 got 4 laps to go. V10 Leo will like to try and keep the position of P2 on track against him. Meanwhile, Nelu Safu and AMS Knight will also go side by side. V10 Leo up the P2, but AMS Knight will lose position to Nelu Safu, drop the P5 for the Sauber, who's as the Sauber on the mediums compared to the hards of the Ferrari. As the Ferrari starts to come back through themselves. And has done a very good job to catch back up to our championship leader, Nelu Safu. P4, V10 Leo, P2 as the Ferraris have again done a very consistent job, but that 10-second time penalty will drop Leo probably down to P7 by the end of the race once all penalties are taken into account. A very, very unfortunate day for the Ferrari, and same for the Mercedes as well, who's done again. It's very unlucky to get penalties. It's so easy to get penalties here, but we're going to it's the name of the game. Don't get penalties, and just make sure you win by your at the top of the time sheets by the end of it. CWL Racing, speaking of penalties, has got a 3-second time penalty for himself now in P10, so that is very unfortunate for the Haas. However, 6 seconds for Rio will at least help him keep that points position. Fira Attis is going to make a move on the inside there. Sausage Joe is going to make a move up the inside into turn 4, makes the move stick for against the Ferrari, and up into P2 goes the Red Bull. Brand moves back up to P6 as fighting Fira Attis for P6. They both want the track position. They want it to win it on track. That's what's the name. What you want to do as a racing driver. You don't care about the penalties. You want to win it on track. As he manages to get back up into P6. So Archer leads the way ahead of V10 Sausage Joe. V10 Leo in P3. P4 for Nelu Safu. AMS Knight in P5. P6 for Brown. P7 for Fira Attis. Strikey in P8. Adam P9, P10 for CWL Racing, Rio Harris, and then new in P11, Aiden P12, and Epic OJ, who is disconnected in P13. We're going to see the battles continue between Sausage Joe and V10 Leo. Up the inside goes the Ferrari and takes the position for from Sausage Joe into P2. As we go down towards turn 4, Sausage Joe will want this position on track no matter what, though, but cannot quite do it. AMS Knight is beginning to drop back even further, though. Those tyres are beginning to fade away for the Sauber. At this stage, though, I think 6 seconds is too big of a gap to gain for the Mercedes over our championship leader. Fira Attis has got back by Brown for P6 on track, but will not get it on penalties by the end of the race. We go on to the final lap of the race now. Archer leads the way. V10 Leo P2. Sausage Joe third. Nelu Safi fourth. AMS Knight in P5. 6 for Fira Attis as they come across the lines. P7 for Brown. Strikey 8th. Adam in 9th. and CWL rounding out the top 10. Meanwhile, we're going to see side-by-side action between Sausage Joe and V10 Leo. Tries to go around the outside. However, this is the battle for the lead between Nelu Safo and Sausage Joe. V10 Leo been defending for his life. Contact between Sausage Joe and Nelu Safo as we go down towards turn 4. Side by side. 3 wide as they go into the corner, but Sausage Joe manages to keep P2. Nelu Safu gets up to P3 on track, but is that all? Everything's been watched. Archer has dropped down to P4. Disconnection maybe for the Mercedes. I'm not exactly sure what's happened here for the Mercedes. He, unfortunately, who was leading the race, has gone by. So this is going to be Sausage Joe and Nelu Safu coming by for P1 and P2. Sausage Joe will come home to take victory, Austria. No doubts on winners, no penalties there. Nelu Safu P2, V10 Leo P3 on track, but AMS Knight will take it on pens. V10 Leo drop to 4th, P5 for Vera Attis, P4 will go to Brand in the end. V10 Leo finish 5th, Archer 6th, Strikey 6th, Archer 7th. Adam will finish P8, 9th for CWL Racing. Vera Attis finishes around out the top 10. Rio Harris, can he get by on penalties? I don't know. I think it's a bit too much, and comes home in P11. Aiden will come home in P12. Epic OJ will come home disconnected in P13 with Marcel, Ultimate John, Team Hewitson, Juiced Man, and Wash have come home out finishing the race. But what a race, and congratulations Sausage Joe, who wins a 2nd race of the season. Very good drive from him. And Nelu Safu as well, very good job. I'm not exactly sure what happened there with... And that is the podium, and very good job there from the drivers there. Sausage Joe race winner, Aiden fastest lap, Bran driver of the day, most overtakes for Adam. This leaves us with the final race results. Sausage Joe, Nelu Safu, AMS Knight, Bran, V10 Leo, Strikey, Archer, Adam, CWL Racing, Vera Attis, Rio Harris, Aiden, Epic OJ, Marcel, Ultimate John, and then Marcel, Ultimate John, Team Hewittsman, washed. Oh, did not finish the race. Epic OJ was disconnected. Sprint race results, quickly reminder. Nelly Saffron won that. Sausage Joe, AMS Knight, Adam, Brand, V10 Leo, Rio Harris, Vera Attis, Marcel, Aiden, Archer, Ultimate John, Epic OJ, US Man, Wash, CWL Racing, Racing, and Strikey. And that is our race. And congratulations to Sausage Joe for winning his 2nd race of the season. Oh, Archer got low fuel mode. That is unfortunate for the Mercedes, who'd led most of the race. He'd like to at least finish on the tops, at least on track in 1st. But fortunate for him. Congratulations to our winner, Sausage Joe. 2 out of 2 wins in the last 2 races. So I think much closer as well. And that is going to be us for this evening. We will be back next week for the Emilia Grand Prix in Imola. And then we're going to be Belgium. Then we've got break week. Then Japan, Netherlands. We are 2nd and final sprint race of the season. Ahead of Vegas, Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi. Please join us for every single one of those between now and the start of October. We'll be back very next week. Same time, same